So you're not alone if you feel down, if you feel depressed, but I'm going to tell you this, we have a lot to be genuinely excited about. And I can begin with this, a reality check, because so many people lost sight of where we actually were in the world prior to Donald Trump. So I'm going to start with a reality check, and I'm going to try to put your heart or your psyche at ease by sharing the reality of the way things already were prior to the anomaly called Donald Trump. Prior to Donald Trump, those who care about Western kind and Western civilization could not get anyone elected in any way, shape, or form. We could not with our dollars. We could not with candidates. We could not by attempting to take over any part of the Republican Party, which, by the way, I'll step aside and just for a moment and tangentially say that there was an individual, I won't name him, several years ago who suddenly came on the scene and who was far more piss and vinegar than any wisdom, than intelligence, but because of certain factors that I guess made him interesting to listen to, garnered hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of followers, and he told everybody to get into the Republican Party. And I told everybody, do not go into the Republican Party. You cannot take it over. They have an unbelievably powerful immune system for everything that is white positive. And as soon as they sniff you out, they purge you, because they've done it many times over the years. And a lot of people ended up ignoring me and heeding his advice and attempting to do and waste their time. And still some people have, after heeding his advice years ago, still have this in their heads, even though he has long since abandoned that position and has adopted my position. He said it's composed of a bunch of senescent people, a bunch of wizened people in their dotage, just waiting to go to the grave. And they love when new blood shows up. Just go in and take it over. Well, he went in, took it over, his local district or precinct or whatever it was. And then when they found out that he was white positive, those senescent people just cut his young ass away and they got rid of him. So prior to Donald Trump, we could not get any of our people elected. We could not get any of our views represented. There was no chance in hell of us getting into office. We were already in that position, and we had been in that position for the totality of your life. Because, my friends, there has been no America the way that you think of America existing, the way that you were taught in your elementary schools and in your high school, your civics class, your government's class. That America has long since been dead. And what happened here on the 6th, and what people are coming to grips with now, and they will still continue to be coming to grips with, is that what they have been holding on to, what they've been holding to their breast, hoping against all odds that this great America, this living America, was going to be able to be protected and saved, was actually a corpse. And as they moved away and they saw that indeed it was a corpse, that it wasn't ours, that it's long since been dead, their innocence has ended, and they are going to be looking for answers. There'll be stages. They're going to go through the shock, the regret, the disbelief, the denial, and then the rage, and then the questions about what can be done. That is where we come in. The only way somebody could get elected, as I said prior to, long before, not once he announced that he was going to be running for president, but long before, and those who have been with me, if you are in the live chat, if you've been with me for over a decade or so, or you're going to be in one of the threads later on, You need to mention this to the people so they know. I said the only way that we were going to see and this was after Obama got elected, another white man in office is an anomaly. And I've been saying that all along. And this, with Joe Biden, is the inverse of that same anomaly. If you understand mathematics, and there are some other realms of thought that I'm not even going to bother because I'm not a doom dissector. We're not going to do that. We don't do that here. We are pragmatists in the Aristotelian fashion that correct the problems and overcome the challenges that are set before us. But what you see here in Joe Biden is the inverse of the anomaly that we saw in this system. So we could not get elected. Why? Because the anti-whites dominate the news, entertainment industries, as well as big tech, all of the means of communication. And I've been saying since high school that democracy is controlled by those who control the means of communication. That is a handful of people. Why is it that? Because those are the people who tell everyone else what to think. You can't know more about your neighborhood, much less your county, your state, your region, your country, the private lives of other individuals. You can't know anything beyond your own life and the immediate circles of your family and work than by means of mass media, whether it is traditional or the new big tech. So they will tell you what to think. Politics is useless. We are not going to recapture our destiny by voting or violence. Neither are the path to the recapture of our destiny. And the recapture of that destiny begins in your heart. It begins treating yourself for the mean pathogens that you've been infected with, reclaiming your identity. That story I was talking about, that the one thing that they can't take from you, even in the most totalitarian state, they can't take that one thing from you. You can follow the path that leads to the western sunrise, or you can continue to be muddled in the nonsense and in the anti-white narrative and follow fools to perdition. You have been shown the way. Not because it's come down from Sinai, but because you have seen it working in the lives of others. Because we have seen individual lives get better and stronger. Because we have seen family units get started and get better and stronger. Because if you have been with us for the past 2 years alone, you have seen 7 people by their own admission come away from suicide by going free. 5 babies born by couples going free. So many more of substance abuse, of psychotropic drugs, making the right decisions in their lives, saving their families money, getting out of positions that would have cost them money, getting off paths that would have ruined their lives, addictions, changing the lives of those around them. That is why no God needs to walk on water when you can see that once you teach them to fish, they all will come and fish. It's your story or theirs. It's Prometheus Rising or the anti-white narrative. Are you going to pin your heroism into the blank pages at the back of that book? Or are you going to continue to be some second-rate chump antagonist in the story of the anti-whites? Are you going to be a victim in their narrative? A terrorist? A bloodthirsty terrorist, as they will characterize you, including the Republicans, including the conservatives, including the so-called the gatekeepers and so-called leaders of MAGA movement? Are you going to be their terrorist, victimized by them, thrown to the jackals by them? Or are you going to take up a metaphorical gleaming sword for your own well-being and with your tongue and with your deeds and with your efforts, reclaim this destiny. You have never lived a day of your life in the United States of America, created by the founding fathers. Not a single day. It isn't almost dead. It isn't time to be rash and reckless. America has been dead for a long time. You do not have a country if you are a Westman. I'll say it again. You do not have a country if you are a Westman. A country serves your well-being. You do not have one. You might say, well, when did America die? What does it matter? And you make any statements on YouTube, and the anti-whites who run everything for the well-being of anti-whites, for the enrichment of anti-whites, especially for the enrichment and empowerment of non-white anti-whites, they'll just shut everything down.